Kingdom Tunes. The untold story of Samson, strength, betrayal, and redemption. In a world of warriors and judges. One man's strength set him apart, but his story is more than just about physical power. It's a tale of faith, temptation, betrayal, and ultimate redemption. This is the story of Samson, the strongest man who ever lived, and how his choices shaped not just his life, but an entire nation. Stay with me as we dive deep into the life of Samson, from his miraculous birth to his final, incredible act of courage. You won't want to miss this. Our story begins with a woman named Manoah's wife. She longed for a child, but she could not have any. One day, an angel of the Lord appeared to her.
You are barren and childless, but you are going to become pregnant and give birth to a son. He is to be set apart for God from birth. No razor may be used on his head, for he will be a Nazirite, dedicated to God. He will begin to deliver Israel from the hands of the Philistines.
True to the angel's word, Manoah's wife gave birth to a boy named Samson. From the beginning, God blessed Samson with extraordinary strength, a strength that would one day be used to fight against the enemies of Israel, the Philistines, who were cruel rulers over the people. But Samson's strength was tied to his faithfulness to God, symbolized by his long hair. As Samson grew older, his physical strength became unmatched, but his heart often led him into trouble. One day, Samson saw a Philistine woman in Timnah. He was captivated by her beauty, despite knowing that his people were supposed to stay away from the Philistines. But Samson was determined. Samson, speaking to his parents,
I have seen a Philistine woman in Timnah. Now get her for me as my wife.
Isn't there an acceptable woman among your own people? Must you go to the uncircumcised Philistines to get a wife?
But Samson insisted. What he didn't know was that this was part of God's plan to confront the Philistines. On the way to Timnah, Samson encountered a lion. The Spirit of the Lord came powerfully upon him, and he tore the lion apart with his bare hands. Later, when Samson returned to the place, he found honey in the lion's carcass and took some home to his parents. But he didn't tell them where it came from. His strength was more than just muscle. It was the power of God working through him. At the wedding feast, Samson, feeling clever, posed a riddle to his Philistine companions.
Out of the eater, something to eat. Out of the strong, something sweet. If you can answer my riddle within 7 days, I'll give you 30 sets of clothes. If you can't, you owe me.
For days, the Philistines tried to solve the riddle but couldn't. Frustrated, they threatened Samson's new wife.
Coax your husband to explain the riddle to us, or we'll burn you and your father's household.
She begged Samson, and eventually, he gave in. She told the Philistines, and they answered the riddle correctly, Philistines mocking.
What is sweeter than honey? What is stronger than a lion?
If you had not plowed with my heifer, you would not have solved my riddle.
Furious, Samson went down to a nearby town, struck down 30 men, took their clothes, and paid his debt. But his anger toward the Philistines only grew. As Samson continued to battle the Philistines, his anger and strength became legendary. Once he caught 300 foxes, tied their tails together in pairs, attached burning torches, and sent them running through the Philistine fields, destroying their crops. The Philistines were desperate to stop him, but no one could match his strength.
We need to stop Samson. Capture him at any cost.
But Samson wasn't finished. He single-handedly killed 1,000 Philistines with nothing but the jawbone of a donkey. His victories were amazing, but Samson's downfall wasn't far away. Samson fell in love with another Philistine woman named Delilah. The Philistine rulers came to her with a plan.
Find out the secret of his strength. We will each give you 1,100 pieces of silver.
Delilah agreed. Day after day she pressed Samson, asking him what made him so strong.
Tell me the secret of your great strength, and how you can be tied up and subdued.
If anyone ties me with 7 fresh bowstrings, I'll become as weak as any other man.
Delilah tied him with bowstrings, but when the Philistines came, Samson easily broke free. She asked again and again. Samson gave her false answers. But Delilah didn't give up. Finally, after much nagging, Samson revealed the truth.
No razor has ever been used on my head, because I have been a Nazirite, dedicated to God from my mother's womb. If my head were shaved, my strength would leave me.
Delilah knew this was the truth. She lulled him to sleep and called a man to shave off his hair. When Samson woke, his strength was gone.
I'll go out as before and shake myself free.
But he did not know that the Lord had left him. The Philistines captured Samson, blinded him, and put him to work grinding grain in prison. But as time passed, his hair began to grow back. One day, the Philistines held a great celebration in their temple to mock Samson and give thanks to their god Dagon. They brought Samson out to entertain them, but Samson had one final prayer.
Sovereign Lord, remember me. Please, God, strengthen me just once more, and let me with one blow get revenge on the Philistines for my 2 eyes.
With his hands placed on the pillars of the temple, Samson pushed with all his might. The temple collapsed, killing Samson and thousands of Philistines. In his death, Samson defeated more enemies than he had in his life. His story is a reminder of God's grace and redemption, even when we fall. Samson's life was filled with mistakes, but even in his lowest moment, God used him to fulfill his purpose. Samson's story reminds us that no matter how far we stray, it's never too late to turn back to God. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe for more videos.